G'day guys, and today I'm going to review the game which is between Geelong and Essendon at the GMHBA Stadium. First time since 1993, since the Bombers have come down for a home and away game. Obviously they've had some pre-season sort of games kicking around GMHBA, but this time around for the real stuff. Thank you, well, I'm not going to thank COVID for that, but it's good to have the Bombers down, and it was good to just get the result and get the job done. Cats by 41 points. And what was a seesawy affair, that's for sure, and a very strange game, strange result. With how it all sort of panned out, just basically from the get-go. We look at the bit of the timeline, and it was a terrible start to the game. We were taken by surprise, I feel, which would have surprised me if we were surprised, because the Bombers have definitely touched us up in the past with their speed of ball movement and, really good play. But, the first term was a very hard watch, and a Jeremy Cameron goal, inspirational, was sort of really needed right before the quarter-time siren. And I thought if we didn't get one in the opening term, I thought, well, it's just a repeat of last week, and good luck. I didn't have a lot of hope then. I thought, it's going to be one of those games when they kicked, the first four. So, Essendon just had it on their terms in the opening term, and they had some really good looks up forward, pretty easy goals, really. Just as a result of our lack of intensity, lack of pressure, just allowed the Bombers to walk out of the contest and clear in situations, which obviously gave their forwards some pretty good looks. They were front and square, and they were very dangerous when they did go inside 50, and probably could have been up by a bit more, to be fair. Just up by 21 at quarter time, but still they gave themselves a pretty good lead. And we kicked 15 goals for the game, and I would say the second term astronomically improved, thankfully. 8 goals, 2 in the second term, kept the Bombers pretty quiet. What was great was just we started winning it out of the stoppage and just playing footy, pure instinct football, where we'd move the ball quickly and give our forwards some really good looks. Cameron looked dangerous in the second term as well. He kicked a couple. I think Hawkins kicked 3 in the second term. So when the big guys kicking goals, it's obviously a really promising sign, and it means the ball movement isn't half bad. And the Bombers, unfortunately, for their sake, just weren't able to cope with the ball movement and the speed of which it was coming through. And the Cats obviously did some good job isolating, one-on-ones and some precision kicking. That's ironic. And they kept them just for 1 goal that term. And it was a bit of a grind in the third quarter, but sort of level with them, really. And final term was obviously pleasing to get the result. It was a strange game because Essendon was so clean, and it felt like they were so good out of the stoppage. Darcy Parish had it on a string, and obviously was best on ground as per the medallion / country match. He was absolutely outstanding, and clearly no one went anywhere near him because he racked up the ball. I think got 43 or something like that. And he was a dynamic player, as he is. He just players just don't go near him. But look, what do I have to say? I suppose after quarter time, obviously the intensity lifted. We got pressure on the ball, and we're able to sort of, make it move forward, basically. We were a bit slow in the first term, really sluggish, didn't really give our forwards great opportunities, and our backline definitely tightened up as well. We didn't really allow them too much time and space, and we sort of, I wouldn't say flooded the backline, but we definitely got our numbers back and slowed and stifled the ball movement of the Bombers, essentially, as the game wore on. But, if you're winning clearance and you're sending it to your forward 50, it's much easier. But, I remember in the first term just kicking it to, I swear we were kicking at the Bombers players just left, right and centre. I would have reckoned could have counted 6 or 7 intercept marks in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. But thankfully, we lowered our eyes a bit more as the game wore on and made some better decisions. Again, especially in the second term. But as the game wore on, we made life a bit more difficult, sort of made Essendon's life much more difficult in terms of being able to generate some scores. So to kick 4 in the first quarter and to only concede 4 in the next 3 quarters, pretty good effort by essentially the whole team, but definitely the midfield and defensive 50 in the unit there did a great job. I'm interested to see some of these stats. We won more of the football. I'm going to be very interested to see the marks. Wow, that's really interesting. The inside 50 is 62 to 45. That's quite incredible. I did feel like the Bombers definitely had a lot of looks, but that's either really good by the back line and amazing to get 15 goals from 45 entries. I think that's pretty good as per efficiency inside 50. And it did feel like when we did get it inside 50, we were pretty dangerous. Bombers, unfortunately, probably not the same. Look at the clearances, plus 14. It just didn't feel like we were that good in the clearances. Probably around the ground we did well, and we definitely made it a bit of a stoppage game. We spoiled it 150 times, I reckon. So yeah, the centre clearances would have been 10 to 12. So around the ground, I will probably say 38-22. That adds up to 48, I reckon. So around the ground seemed to get a bit more ascendancy. Close contested possession count, but definitely not close on the scoreboard. Cats got the job done there. I'm very interested to see the marks. Nearly 100. Didn't feel like we had that many marks. I saw a lot of spoils, but again, we got some really good looks inside 50 with 13 marks in the wet. Pretty decent effort. The Bombers contested marks. Winners this week, they did a great job. Obviously, put under a bit of duress at times, and they were marking everything early on. However, excuse me, Cats kicked 15 goals. That's 1 goal every 3 inside 50s, so not too shabby at all. Can't rely on that efficiency all the time, though. Bombers out-tackled. Did they? Yeah, that makes sense that they out-tackled because with them, I felt like we were out, most of the game. Felt like we were trying to tackle them because we were second of the ball in the first term. I suppose after quarter time, that would have definitely changed. Tackles inside 50 is very interesting. We've got Dalhouse and we've got Myers and also... trying to think. Dalhouse, Myers, and... yeah, it's not coming to me close. 4 tackles inside 50. Not good enough. On a wet night, you'd think there'd be a lot more tackles. See, take note from what the Bombers are doing. It's a bit poor, unfortunately. Especially when they're not... those 3 forwards don't really kick many goals. Thankfully, Myers kicked a few, which we'll go into soon. Looking at the players and the votes, that's sort of a summarisation of the game. I don't even think it's a word, but I've just gone ahead and made that one up. A summation of a decent performance by the Cats, a good response after, going down to the Lions last week in a tough loss, and just had to get the job done this week and back into the top 4, which is really promising. From a player point of view, Dangerfield gets the 3 votes. Been a while since given Paddy the 3. His best game for the year for the Cats. He kicked a goal, 37 touches, 11 marks, 11 clearances, nearly 700 metres gained, and a few goal assists in there as well. So he was dynamic. He was back to his best. I thought he was injured again when he went to ground. I think it was in the 3rd term where it was one contest where he was running, tried to kick it, and got a little bit hectic. But yeah, Pat was back to the Pat we know, and hopefully he gets better as the season goes on and can produce this kind of stuff. Because when he's not, he's a bit of a liability because he's not gonna tag or chase or do anything like that. Got 4 tackles next to his name on the night. So yeah, he was super, and he was contested beast as he is. 2 votes to Thomas Hawkins. He kicked 6 goals, 15 touches, 6 marks. You probably have a few goal assists in there as well, I'd imagine. And the game's always interesting and different when you go watch it, I do find. But yeah, Hawkins' influence on the scoreboard. He was nowhere to be seen for the first quarter and a half, and then he popped up and he kicked 6. So it was a great presence, for pretty much most of the night after quarter time. He loves playing the Bombers. He always gets a pretty good scoreboard pressure on Essendon as a team, and again, hitting the scoreboard in a big way. It's about time he kicked a bag as well. He's so often he's kicking 2s and 3s, but it's nice to see him sort of cash in. And I suppose once around the time of Cameron going off, he woke up. Tom woke up, and the 3-headed monster became a 2-headed monster and got the job done. My 1 vote goes to Sam Menegola. He's somewhat down the list. I'm just trying to find Samuel, but I felt watching the game, he had 21 touches, and probably his numbers weren't great, but I felt like even when we weren't playing our absolute best, I thought when we were struggling the most, he was the most influential for us and the one having a real crack and dig in and inspire the team a bit. Not more so from a numbers or statistical point of view, but I felt he was the one guy really cracking in and leading from the front. So Menegola got the 1 vote for mine. But I mean, if you want to go off statistics, there's definitely other players that probably have better statistics. I just felt he had a really good influence, and definitely is different when you go watch the game as well. Because players like Tom Stewart play amazing each and every week. He's a lock for 20 plus possessions. He only gets 25 every week and 10 marks plus, but he took 13, so he definitely could have got a vote. Might win our best and fairest. I hope he does. Atkins got a lot of the ball. He's not super clean with it, but yeah, obviously he racked up a fair bit of it off halfback. Tui kicked a goal, a nice goal, and also got the 26 touches. He was pretty solid throughout the night, and he knows how to gain territory, as does Isaac Smith. He also ended up with a goal next to his name. It was an absolute scrubber off the deck, but he found a way. 25 touches. Those guys get pretty high metres gained each game. So it ended up with 28. I didn't feel like he was that influential, but again, it's a bit surprising. Sometimes the stats can be a bit off. Buse had 20. I guess he did have a bit of the ball off half back, and he took the game on, which was good. Mentioned Matt Menegola. Parfit's a bit slow sometimes, but again, he played a decent game. He dropped that mark right at the edge of the goal square, which I just couldn't believe. It was just such a perfect thing to do, but oh well, stuff happens. Blitzarves did a good job, predominantly in full back. He played in the ruck for a little bit while Stanley was off. I don't really know why he was off, but Stanley came back on, which was pleasing. And yeah, look, he didn't have the best game of all time, but I felt like his presence around the midfield as sort of like an extra body there, really good. He's going to do a better job than Blitzarves. So, sorry, not Blitzarves, Radaglia. Guthrie's been quiet and just hasn't quite been the same since coming back from injury. So I just wonder if he's low on confidence or injured or a bit of both. But if he needs some time to rest him up. Narkle had 18, but gee, he wasted the ball a fair bit, and he'll probably get dropped again, unfortunately. Seems to happen a bit. Myers kicked a couple of goals next to his name, 12 touches. He was good. He played a good game. It's always nice when the small forwards hit the scoreboard, and it's probably an area where we struggle in the most, to be honest. So he did well there. Henry wasn't very good with the football, unfortunately. He kicked 2 or 3 out on the 4, I think. He should never kick from left half back if facing the way Henry's kicking, because he just kicks it out on the full and he can't kick on his left. So I don't think he should even bother trying to kick from left half back, right half back if we're watching. Brad Close was quiet. He did some nice things at 5 tackles. Yeah, some good pressure there from Close. He doesn't like to take the onus on himself to probably kick the goals, but he definitely doesn't mind passing off. Henderson had 9 touches. It always feels like he has more of the ball than the stats say that he gets. But again, yeah, his hands are pretty good. 4 marks, I think. Yeah. So again, he would have done his job nicely down back. No, I'm really. I don't think go off the chain. Up forward for the Bombers. Cameron kicked 3 goals. He had 3 kicks and 3 goals. So ended the game with 4 touches. Unfortunately, a hamstring, possibly a strain. Again, still trying to get my head around that one and across what that might be. But yeah, he was a bit iffy going into the game. And I mean, great that Geelong paid great respect to Essendon and trying to put their absolute best team out there and not rest him. But if he's not right on a cold night, why would you risk your absolute superstar recruit. I don't know why you'd even bother, because you want Cameron fit and firing for the finals. I wouldn't try and have him, perfect for round 15 or round 16 game, whatever round we're at now, round 16. Cole Jasny, not too bad. He doesn't really do much, though. He just punches the ball and sometimes gets a few kicks. Rowan was quiet, but had some really good impact. He kicked a really important goal when we needed it in the second term, and had a magnificent kick to Hawkins. So again, he's always going to be a burst player. He has some moments and some good pressure acts in there. Holmes probably isn't quite up to it just yet. He just can't kick a goal. It's in his head. Or he's kicked a few points already. Came on for Cameron. Got a little bit of the ball, but didn't look super comfortable just yet. So, guess who's at the bottom? Luke Dalhouse. 1 point, 8 touches, 1 tackle. So I don't know what he offers. I'm happy to be told what. I'm even hearing experts on the radio saying, oh, it's a tough role to play, and I'm sure it is, but I don't think Luke Bruce at Hawthorn would get games consistently if he did nothing for 10 weeks in a row, and maybe occasionally kicked a goal and maybe occasionally laid a tackle. He's in the side of tackle. He gave away a silly free kick because he can't tackle properly, and he's the shortest bloke out there. I don't know what he's in the side to do. I'm at a bit of a loss there, but if Geelong want to win a premiership and actually take themselves seriously, I don't think he's in their best 22. Give Evans a go. Don't have a Dalhouse in the team. He's slow. He's always trying to get to a pressure act, but he's not quick enough to apply the pressure. I don't get it. He's played one decent game this year. If I played one decent game out of 16, I don't think I'd be getting regular games. But anyway, I'd love to hear an explanation. That's a bit of a look at. Oh, okay, yep, cool. We won't be looking at next week then. Just go on, TBC. We've got Carlton anyway. Possibly at Marvel. We'll see what happens. MCG there, but I always get a bit nervous against the bottom 10 sides, I should say, because they can sort of surprise us. If I'm going on paper, I back us in to win. I can't ever tip Carlton but whenever I don't tip them, they win. So I don't know. I think we should get the job done, just purely on talent alone. But again, if you don't rock up with the mindset and tenacity, then you'll get shown up big time. But a good win by the Cats, 41-point winners. We'll take that any day of the week. Funny how it all sort of worked out in the end. It felt like at times that Essendon were playing with a super dry ball and we were just fumbly as ever. But we got the job done and got it done well. So, guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to subscribe away. Tap the bell to get notified when I do upload new content. There's plenty coming out to the YouTube stratosphere. So, once again, guys, thanks again for sticking around. I'll see you on the next video.